Choice Hotels get you more of what you value. Comfort Inn, it's calling your name. Save on the stay. Oh, and free waffles are yours to claim. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Welcome to episode 200 of our Casino Combat Podcast. 200. Wow. We will need to spend a minute on that in the show open when we talk about what's going on in the galaxy, that's for sure. But before we get started, here's the battle plan for this episode. We are going to start with a Core Koncepts segment and walk through the foundation of everything we have ever talked about in this podcast, the core concepts of Casino Combat, with some observations about how they've aged and perhaps how they could have been done better with the benefit of hindsight. Then we are going to have a moment of casino wisdom. I am thrilled with how the launch of the Book of Casino Wisdom went. But I said in the book, more wisdoms were still being discovered, learned, and researched. Well, I have a new wisdom for you today. A wisdom that I'm excited to share with you, and that for some of you is going to be an idea you perhaps have never considered. Finally, we're going to hang out in the virtual VIP lounge, and I'm going to lean into that new wisdom and make you an offer that you should not refuse. And our artist for the day is Gordon Lightfoot. So if the boys pop in and want some lyrics, we'll find some Gordon Lightfoot lyrics. All right, let's go.
I hope you understand. He was born a rambling man.
It's me. It's TRG, the Rambling Gambler, just trying to make a living and doing the best I can. This is episode 200 of our Casino Combat Podcast, and if this is your first time, you picked a momentous moment to join us. Roughly 5 years ago, I started this journey to teach people what I knew about winning the game of casino gambling. With episode 200, we are starting the 6th year of this podcast. The Book of Casino Wisdom is selling on Amazon. The core concepts and the wagering systems built from them have been tested by many other people and proven to work and work well. And we've proven with Operation Volcanic Velocity that we do indeed function as a squad. If you are new, I know that's a lot. That's a lot to take in. I get it. The Casino Combat Galaxy is a big place after 5 years, but we've built an on-ramp for you. We've built the equivalent of a welcome kit. CasinoCombat.com/chip. Starts with some links to Casino Combat 101 content to get you up to speed, and then also contains links to all the most important content for learning the wagering systems, joining us on trips, being hosted, being comped, and living a casino lifestyle as part of our squad. If that's not enough, if that isn't enough information, if you ever have any questions, I'm an easy guy to find. Email me, trg@casinocombat.com. Spell combat with a K. Let me know what you need. I'll do my best to make sure everything that needs to happen does happen. And if you find yourself thinking, who's this TRG guy? Why should I believe a voice on the internet? Or if you tell your spouse, I've been listening to this guy on the internet, and he says we can use our casino play to take a cruise, and your spouse wisely rolls their eyes because it's some guy on a podcast on the internet. Also, email trg@casinocombat.com. Do spell it with a K. I'll connect you to people who have known me in person for years. People who have tested what I've taught, been on cruises with me, comped, provided material for the book that I wrote. If you have doubts at this point, I believe you have two choices. Believe the guy on the internet and his friends are telling the truth. Or you have to believe that the guy on the internet is a liar and a con man, and he and a bunch of other people set up an elaborate multi-year con to convince you to go to a casino they don't own and lose money. And to give the guy who wrote the book a $5 profit for buying said book. Those are kind of the choices. I did not spend 5 years doing this to get $5 of your money. I just didn't. Why would I? It serves zero purpose. So think about that if you have doubts. They're reasonable, they're understandable, but we have easy ways to address them. If this is your first time, please stick around. Give this a chance. Consider that I might be telling you things that would really change the way you interact with casinos, give you some amazing benefits. If this is your next time, as always, thank you for the gift of your time. We have a battle plan. Let's get started with a core
Lyrics, dude. Recite him some lyrics.
concepts. Okay, guys. Okay, dudes. Let's do lyrics. We said Gordon Lightfoot. This one is actually easy. Sometimes I think it's a sin when I feel like I'm winning when I'm losing again. First of all, let me acknowledge winning, losing, rambling. I'm telling you over and over, it bears out. The great ones drop the G. It's just the way it's done. We have proof every time. But second, there is an important point to be made here. If you feel like you're winning when you're losing again, it is a sin. 100% a casino combat sin. You should be clear-eyed, doing stackonomics, and no way are we not knowing we are losing if we are losing. If you find yourself committing this sin very often, find a squad member, talk it out. Someone will help you sort out why you are feeling the way you are feeling. Okay, let's do that core concept segment. The core concepts of casino combat, concepts spelled with a K, of course, are the foundational pillars for being good at the game of casino gambling. And at this point, they've stood the test of time. When I wrote them 5 years ago, I was putting into words what I knew to be true, what I believed to be true, things that I had done repeatedly and tested and verified. And it was also very possible that if I kept doing a podcast, someone was going to find a problem, an error. It was also possible that someone would be me. I've updated the core concepts from time to time by including better phrasing or adding clarity, but the ideas themselves are basic, they're fundamental, important, and accurate. So I thought for episode 200, we should go through them again, and I thought that for a particular reason. On the Blackjack cruise, I mentioned one of them at one point to Inner Circle member ECE, fourth to the ring, PhD, and admittedly, we'd been doing a bit of day drinking, well, a lot of bit of day drinking, but we were talking about Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and I spun out one of the core concepts to him, and he looked at me and he said, well, if that's how you think you need to do it, and I thought, well, of course I think that's how I need to do it. I talk about it all the time, and so maybe I don't talk about it enough. So let's go through the core concepts once again and talk about them in this 200th episode of our Casino Combat podcast. Pillar 1. Learn to play a casino game with wagers where the house only has a small advantage over the player and a reasonable amount of tier credits are awarded. And good candidates here are blackjack, baccarat, craps, or roulette. But you could go to Ultimate Texas Hold'em. There are a lot of ways that you can look at this. We've found over time that you want a house advantage most of your wagers. I play slots. I enjoy playing slots. I know that over time I have made money playing slots, and I know that sounds crazy. If you're new, if you don't get why we know that's true, email me. I'll send you the documentation. We got an ebook about it. I'll point you to it. I'll talk you through it. I understand how crazy it is for someone to say, I make money every year for 5 years playing slots. I get it. I also know it is 100% true, proven, and documented. But back to this core concept, our slot play is probably roughly 5% of our total casino action over a year. The majority of our action, the vast majority of our action is blackjack, and blackjack offers a house advantage of 0.5%, 50 cents per 100 wagered. Most craps wagers fall under 4%. Most baccarat wagers fall well under 4%. That's where the majority of our wagers fall. Any wagers that are less than 4% are where I feel most of your action should be. Pillar 2, learn a wagering process that includes both progressive and regressive attributes. A progressive wager is a wager that goes up after a win or a series of wins. Perhaps a more clever man would have said on the pressing side of things, an attribute of pressing, to say not flat betting. And regressive attributes, perhaps those could have been called recovery attributes. But the idea is that at some point, if you have taken a loss or a series of losses, if you are going to be successful at the game of casino gambling, your wagers need to be larger, at least for a short period of time. That's the second pillar. The third pillar, have a bankroll of money you can afford to lose that is larger than needed for the game, which is to say the wager, the unit size, and the wagering process that you intend to use. This is bankroll math. You sit and you say, these are the wagers I'm going to make. This is how I'm going to react to wins and losses. This is the amount of money I need to have a chance at success. And when I teach gambling process, I often say you need a minimum of X wagers. Usually that unit is 10, or that number is 10 units, right? But it's a calculation. And then we go the next step and say, how many times am I going to be able to take a bite of that apple? How many buy-ins do I need to do? Am I going for an afternoon? Maybe I'm just doing one buy-in. Maybe every day I do one buy-in. And over the course of weeks or months, I do just fine. Maybe I'm going on a trip. I'm going to do 3 buy-ins a session. I'm going to do 4 sessions a day. That's how we determine the amount of money we need using this pillar. The easy pillar, the simple, middle, easy pillar. Get and use a player's card from every casino you play in and look for ways to upgrade that card by way of their tier matches with reward systems for other casinos, hotel chains, and cruise lines. Simple, easy, got to do it with discipline, but get a card, use a card, and look for every chance you get to update your card status. Have the discipline to win a small set amount of money and start leaving, or lose a small amount of money and leave. Now that could be leave the table or leave the building, depending on factors like time and travel and distance. Obviously, we are not going on a comped cruise, doing one buy-in, losing a small amount or winning a small amount and going, well, I did it. There we go. That was fun. Glad I came on this cruise. We're not doing that because we're not getting the next cruise, right? That's why we're not doing that. The discipline is to end the attempt, to sit at the table to end the attempt. If you come on a group cruise with us and you don't understand what's going on, it may look to you as someone uninformed in our techniques like we're all just sitting around playing blackjack for hours and hours and hours. We're not. We're really, really not. What's really happening is we're all buying in when our private table opens. And we're all buying in a way that follows what I've just talked about with you. And we're all playing until individually we lose that small set amount, or we win that small set amount, or we get to the end of a shoe and document what's happened. But that's the key. If we're 2/3 of the way through a shoe, you might see someone say, hey, mark my spot, and pick up some chips and go to the bathroom. And when they're in the bathroom, once they're done, on their way out, they take out a notepad or they take out a phone with an app on it and they record that result, the small amount they won or potentially the small amount they lost. And now they come back to the table and the shoe is done and they're still playing. And if you're uninformed, you think they just went to the restroom, came back. It's all the same. It's not. It's another attempt. It's another attempt to win or lose a small set amount. If I'm playing locally, I may just do exactly that. I may just come in, play, win my money for the day, and get up and leave. My travel is sometimes 15 minutes. My parking is free. I'm not spending the night. I'm not doing any of those things. That's our core concept as it relates to exiting the table, either a positive or a negative exit. And the final pillar, the most important pillar, in the end, we are trying to win over the long run. The month, the quarter, the year, not the machine, the table, or the day. And that's very, very important. One of the things I've learned from Midnight Diver is that the number of attempts he gets in a year, because his opportunities are limited, the number of attempts he gets in a year are probably less than the number of attempts I have in an average month. Just a normal average month for me is probably the equivalent to at least an entire year of attempts for him. So he's not going to, in the course of one cruise, be doing what is for me, quote, the long run. So everybody's long run is different. Everybody's going to have to define things differently for them. But the idea is we all know going in, or we should know if we're aware of this particular pillar, we know that on any given day, on any given machine, on any given table, on any given combination of a little bit of craps, a little bit of blackjack, and a slot machine, we may not win. But we also know through the clarity of good record keeping that it is possible for us to win the month or the day or the year. Did I say that was the last pillar? That is not the last pillar. Shame on me. Got to read my own notes. Got to know my own material. Final pillar. If you have losses in the long run, make up those losses with comps and gifts from the casino. And this is the idea of Casino Wisdom number 100 from the Book of Casino Wisdoms, available on Amazon. Okay, I'm kidding. I'll stop with that bit. I just thought it was appropriate here one time since we just finished launching the book so well. The house owns the math. We own the transaction. I've said it many, many, many times. I do not care if I start a month with $1,000 in cash and I finish the month with $900 in cash, $75 in Amazon gift cards, $75 in grocery store gift cards, a handbag, a drill to replace a broken drill, a panini maker, 4 free meals, and 5 comped hotel nights. I consider that a win. I am going to spend money on Amazon. I am going to go to the grocery store. I need to replace that drill. Somebody in my family always needs a panini press. It's fun to go stay in hotels and not pay to stay in hotels. That's the bigger game of casino gambling. That's the game that we are playing. That's the game that many people do not see. That's the game that many people do not know exists. So those are the core concepts of casino combat. I struggle to find anything in there that isn't accurate, that isn't right, that hasn't stood the test of time. And it's funny because several months ago, Lucky Drunk said that he had just gone over these and that when he originally heard them, his reaction was, well, those are easy. Those are simple. Those are really kind of basic. But that over time, he's realized how right they are. And what I would say to that is they are simple. They are basic. To someone like Lucky Drunk, who has a PhD in casino combat for some very clever and original thinking about the core concepts, yes. To someone as smart, capable, knowledgeable, and experienced as he is, a lot of this is really basic. It's really obvious. But it wasn't basic and obvious to me the first time I walked into a casino. All of it is not stuff people know. I know a lot of people who spend a lot of time in casinos and don't know that last one. They don't know that they are looking to make things up with comps and gifts. They walk in, they skip the free lottery ticket, they don't play their free slot play, they just paid for lunch because they didn't worry about the fact that the casino would have bought them lunch, and then they lose a little bit and leave. So these may seem obvious to you. If you're here your first time, and this is the first time you're hearing these, and you're going, well, yeah, of course, good. You're our kind of people. You already know this. But we probably have some other things we can teach you, and if not, find us anyway, because you probably know some things that we would love to learn from you. All right, let's go do a moment of casino wisdom. I've got a new one for you. It's a big one, and it should be a lot of fun. Casino wisdoms combine knowledge or information about casinos or how players in casinos behave, about the rules governing casinos, information, and then an action to be taken in specific situations. And today I want to teach you a new casino wisdom. I said in the book that new wisdoms are always being found, discovered, researched, tested, discovered. So today I want to share a new casino wisdom, one that will eventually make it into volume 2 of the Book of Casino Wisdom, or the second edition of the Book of Casino Wisdom. But here's casino wisdom number 79. Entourages are real, sometimes random, often dynamic. Be aware and know your role. Both the knowledge and the action are right there in the wisdom. The knowledge, entourages are real, sometimes they're random, and they're often dynamic. All of those are true in my experience. And you know me, I'm going to give you a story and some illustrations before we wrap this up. And then we have the action. Be aware of them and know your role in them. Let me tell you a story. You know I love the story about the wisdom to get to the wisdom. I think we called it the origin story in the book itself. But let me tell you a story that illustrates all of this. When my local casino opened, there was a dealer named Tamara. And she had a recently divorced husband whose first name was the same as mine. And every time I played at her table, she would say, even though you had the same name as my ex-husband, and even though he was a son of a gun, I don't want you to lose. And I always lost. And she always said it wasn't for that reason. But I'll be honest, I stopped going to her table. And eventually I didn't see her for a while. And then I saw her again as a player. And it turned out that as a dealer, a very tall, very attractive female dealer, she had met a guy with a fair amount of money whose last name was, and I'm not making this up, his real name was Caesar. And he was a good guy. I knew him a little, enough to nod, say hi. He had a lot more money than I did. He played a lot bigger than I played, so we didn't always end up at the same tables. But I knew just from the little bit that I'd heard that he owned a bunch of dance studios where attractive young women would come in and work on their dance moves, and people would come and watch. So she met him, and she stopped being a dealer and started doing his books. She told me she was doing his books. She was his bookkeeper. Anyway, as a result, she was always around the local casino and on various trips that the local casino provided to their more important guests. And ironically, every time she met Mrs. TRG, she never remembered that she had actually met this Mrs. TRG. In fact, we showed up at an airport one time to go to Las Vegas, and she's there and he's there and some other people I know to nod and say hi are there, and she's like, oh, are you on the blah, blah, blah trip to Las Vegas to see the UFC fight? And I said, no, we just happen to be getting on the same Southwest flight. Are you going out? Oh, yeah, it's a group trip. You know, the casino gave it to us because you know how Caesar's played. And she acts as if she's meeting Mrs. TRG for the first time. And they've met many, many, many times. But she acts like they're meeting for the first time, and she gives Mrs. TRG the entire story about her ex-husband and I having the same name and how I always lost, but that wasn't the reason why, etc., etc., etc. And a couple days later, we're at the pool at the D in downtown Las Vegas on Fremont Street, the Fremont Street Experience, and she's at the pool. And she meets Mrs. TRG, and she repeats the same entire story as if they hadn't just met at the airport, and as if they hadn't met many other times before, and as if she hadn't told that same story many other times before. But here's the interesting part. I mean, that's the funny part. I think there's some parts there that are funny and amusing, but here's the interesting part. Often she would be in a casino with us and ask if we were going to some event or some party or some thing that was going on. And we'd say, no, we just came down for the evening or the afternoon. We didn't get an invite for that. You know, Caesar plays a lot bigger than I play. And she would say, oh, well, don't worry about that. Just come on, you're with us. And we'd get to whatever door or rope or pedestal or whatever was involved. And someone would be looking at credentials and I'd be thinking, well, here's where it all falls apart. And they'd start to say something, and she'd cut them off and say, oh, no, they're with us. And the other people would just shrug, and Caesar would just shrug, and that was that. Very much like, what's that like? Oh, we're at Ocean, right? And we're at Ocean, and ACE and Dr. ECE have invitations to play bingo. And Nakatomi Tony and I are going to join them because they each get an invitation and they each get a guest. And we just move through the lines. Nakatomi Tony and I, who have not much of any status at Ocean, at least at the time, and we just move through the process with them. They show cards, they get whatever pens and whatever we need, they get whatever benefits we all get, they take us right through the process. We're part of their entourage. They're the ones with status, we're their guests. It all works seamlessly. In those situations, you can see it. Those entourages are random. Those entourages are dynamic. Those entourages just occur and then stop existing at some point in time, sometimes for a very short period of time. Those are perfect examples of entourages being random and dynamic. And in each of those situations, my role, Nakatomi Tony's role, was to see that it's happening, enjoy it, and then, I'm just going to be crass. See it happen, enjoy it, and not make an ass of ourselves in some way that becomes a problem for the person with the status. We do not want to be a problem for the person that has status to share. Let's look at some other examples. Let's quickly look at a fictional example. Vegas Vacation, great example. Right? Tommy takes Rusty under his wing because Rusty has a great role at the craps table. And suddenly, Mr. Papa Giorgio from Yuma, all he needs to do is fit right in. And there's hotel suites, and there's beautiful women, and there's great cigars, and there's champagne, and you just have to go with it. You just have to see it happen. You just have to know your role. Having provided those in illustrations, let's look at those roles in a little bit more detail. Every entourage has someone with status to share, and others who they are happy to enjoy extending that status to, because the person with the status has plenty. And those roles are dynamic, and those roles change. If Equine Ensign and Dr. ECE are at Harrah's in Atlantic City, Equine Ensign has status enough to share and get Dr. ECE into the Harbor Lounge. If the two of them are at Ocean, the roles are reversed. It completely switches. If Gator Gambler happens to be in town at Ocean for a large blackjack tournament, suddenly it flips again, and Dr. ECE and probably Equine Ensign are now just part of Gator Gambler's entourage. You just need to be aware that entourages exist and understand and perceive your role in them, and then not worry about it. Just go with it. Just enjoy it, and don't make an ass out of yourself and create a problem for the person with status. Lady Mac and Professor Porsche are, for right now, always part of my entourage, or no, I should say our entourage. They are just learning to live a casino lifestyle. Between Mrs. TRG and myself, we have plenty of extra status to share some places. We can get a comped cruise, each of us, and hand a cabin to them. Or at a lesser scale, the girls wanted to do a couple's trip for a couple nights. Professor Porsche and Lady Mac, and quite frankly, Mrs. TRG had not been to Casino 1. The two of them had never been. Mrs. TRG had not been in quite a while. And so we want to go to Casino 1, 2 hours south and east of our home. And I texted Bubba and told him we wanted to bring friends. We were going to need 2 rooms for 2 nights. I knew I had an offer for 2 comped nights once a week, but Mrs. TRG hadn't been to the property in almost a year. She had no offers. I provided an estimate of Lady Mac and Professor Porsche's ADT and said, hey, can we do something here? Can we work something out? What do you think we can do? And Bubba said, oh, no problem. I'll comp you and Mrs. TRG. And I pointed out that Mrs. TRG didn't have a comp offer available. And his reply was, that's fine. I'll comp her. It's not a problem. Boom, done. We have status to share. They are part of our entourage. It's easy. We're not spending capital. The capital we're spending is capital that, for all intents and purposes, it's not infinite, but the 2 nights that we can have every 2 weeks are kind of always repeating. Even when we don't have offers, we still have offers. Bubba has known us that well, that long. He knows how we play, and how we play for that little tiny property in the middle of nowhere is more than enough for a room comp on a Thursday, Friday night. I could illustrate and illustrate and illustrate, but I think you get the idea. I think you probably understand. So let's adjourn to the virtual VIP lounge for some sips and an offer you should not refuse, in my never so humble opinion. An offer that illustrates just how massive and beneficial this entourage system can be to you as a player who has found this podcast. And I think you are going to see it in a way I suspect you may have never considered.
A little bit of the bubbly.
Welcome to the most must-listen-to segment in casino lifestyle podcasting, the Virtual VIP Lounge. Our lounge is open, and we have the best virtual everything virtually all the time. The best virtual food and drink served anywhere on the interwebs, guaranteed, or your money back. As always, if you can, press pause, fix a drink, make a plate. I have got a little Crown Apple, 1 ice cube here that I'm getting ready to enjoy. VIP lounges are an awesome place to spend time with other gamblers, to talk to each other, to share ideas, to share stories, to swap tall tales, to contribute what we know. And I have an offer to tell you about, an offer that I would make to any number of people. If I was standing around in my VIP lounge at my local casino when it existed, I would tell Gabriel about this. In fact, I played some craps with him the other day, and I did tell him about this. I did encourage him to take advantage of this. This is an opportunity. I said offer, and maybe that's the wrong word. Maybe that's a poor word choice. Opportunity is the better word choice there. This is an opportunity that I'm taking advantage of. And it's an opportunity that I don't deserve. It's an opportunity that I don't necessarily deserve on my own as a player. I'm going to tell you about the property in a second, but the property in question would not normally reach out to a player like myself. They wouldn't know about me, but they would not offer a person like myself this type of comp, this type of opportunity. But I'm in an entourage, and you can be in the entourage with me, and you can be included just like me if you would like. So here's the offer, okay? August 28th through the 31st, M Resort in Las Vegas, that's a Penn Gaming property, reserved private craps game, reserved private blackjack game, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Qualified players get airfare up to $500 reimbursed as free play. This is very much similar to that MSC cruise. We pay a deposit, we get it back as free play. We are we have asked if it can be free promo chips. There's a possibility of that. We don't have a yes to that yet. It's a Saturday night dinner cruise. I'm assuming on Lake Mead, but I don't know, and I don't really care. I've never been on a cruise in Las Vegas for dinner. I think it sounds wonderful. And a Sunday brunch, and there is a $25,000 blackjack tournament, and everyone that is a guest or part of our entourage is invited to participate in that blackjack tournament. That's incredible. M Resort is not finding TRG and going, hey, would you like to fly out to Las Vegas with your wife? And we'll give you $500 each for your airfare because you're both qualified players. And then we have a wonderful comped room for you and a blackjack tournament. And we're going to go on a cruise on Saturday night with dinner. And then we're going to have breakfast or brunch on Sunday. Would you like to come do that? That's not an offer I get. That's not an offer my level of retail play normally qualifies for. This happens to be PCH partner Don's 65th birthday celebration. And that's the point. Once you understand how an entourage works at a small level, once you understand how the entourage works at the level of me helping Professor Portia and Lady Mac get a comped room at Casino One, or how Equine Ensign can get ECE into a lounge, or vice versa. Once you see that that's all just part of this idea of an entourage, we kind of see that PCH functions as a massive entourage because of the level that the partners have played at for years, because of the people they know in the industry, because of the contacts they have, because of the contracts they've been willing to sign. They can set up things like this, a party for them and their friends, and they know me, and they know how I play, so I'm invited. And I know all of you, and I know how you play. And if I don't know you and how you play, I'd like to. So you're invited to be part of my entourage that is part of their entourage. And because this is so big, there are, of course, levels to this. Maybe you are not a player who plays at a level to qualify for the airfare reimbursement, but you still play at a level at which the M Resort in Las Vegas in August, when it's hot, is still more than happy to comp you a room for the event. And as long as you don't mind paying for your own airfare, you're welcome to come and enjoy the entire weekend. Or you might only qualify for casino rate on the room. But again, as long as you're okay with the casino rate, all the same thing applies. And just like tomorrow getting Mrs. TRG and myself invites to parties we didn't qualify on our own, you're part of the dinner cruise. You're part of the 25K blackjack tournament. You're part of the brunch. You're part of the private games. A level of play that would not normally qualify you for a weekend like this, because I told you I don't think my level of play by myself would qualify me for this. But no one cares what anyone else's deal is. The partners are going to have suites. I do not think I am going to be in a suite. I do not expect that to happen. Most of them will have things they charge to the room that are fully comped. Other guests that are part of the entourage will have different rooms, better rooms, nicer rooms, more things comped off on the back than I will have comped off. Who cares? We're all just players having a good time. We're all just members of the bigger entourage, as long as we don't make an ass of ourselves and create problems for the other people that are involved. We go, we enjoy, we have a good time. It should be simple. It should be easy. You are more than invited. You are more than invited. We will try to find a way to make things work for you in a way that you would like them to work. I want to leave you with one last thing. I am at this point in my gambling journey a frequent retail gambler. I am not a high roller in any way. I'm not. I'm qualified for the airfare and the room comp. I know because I asked for Midnight Diver to see if he was qualified. He plays like me. He's qualified. Therefore, I'm qualified. Our numbers on the cruises were nearly identical, which means Dr. ECE and ACE are qualified players by definition. Dr. ECE's numbers are almost the same as mine as well. And ACE's, the Atlantic City Empress's numbers, are better than all of our numbers. Midnight Diver is going. Dr. ECE and ACE are going. If Nakatomi Tony wanted to go, he'd be qualified. I know his play. Equine Ensign would be qualified if the school year didn't get in the way and allowed him to go. I know his play. The partners know his play. He's an instant yes. Others from the cruise would be eligible for room comps if they didn't mind picking up their flight. Honestly, a weekend with this many events, private games, good friends, even without flights and room comps, this would still be a deal. And that's because PCH functions as one huge entourage for all of us. We just have to see it and know our role in it. If you would like to be part of the entourage for the weekend, go to CasinoCombat.com and fill out the hosting onboarding form, or email me, trg@CasinoCombat.com, spell combat with a K. We would love to have you join us for this event. These are the kind of amazing things that are the reason I do Casino Combat. because I want to travel on my play. I want to be able to have my friends come and travel on their play and have unique experiences that we cannot have at our level of play just because we showed up on a comp that the Caesars app offered us at the Flamingo. That's easy. That's retail. That's wonderful. That's nice. But this is another level up. This is a reason for me to get on a plane and travel across the country, because I can't wait to spend time once again at a private blackjack table with Dr. ECE, with Midnight Diver, with Mrs. TRG, with other people that may decide to come on this trip. I can't wait to have that experience again. I can't wait to be out on the water, having dinner, talking about things, sharing stories. I can't wait to see who's going to do well in the blackjack tournament. I am thrilled that somebody's going to give me an opportunity to win $25,000 playing blackjack. It's a tremendous opportunity. This is an entourage you can be a part of. I really would like you to come take advantage of it. Please, tip your waitresses, tip your bartenders, tip your dealers. If you have a host, tip your host. Remember your wisdoms. Don't tip away your wins. I have spoken. Everything you heard here is true from a certain point of view. In 10 years, we may find out I was wrong about all of this. It's time for leaving, and I hope you understand I was born a rambling man. Love it, hate it, it don't matter. Please share with your family and friends. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for listening. Stick around. The best part of the podcast is next. We are going to do the Casino Combat Blues, but we are going to let Katie pop in for just a minute to make sure that we've done all the right things.
If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit your state-specific helpline. This content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Past performance is not indicative of future results.
For Atlantic City Empress, Casino Combat's ace.